this week's edition of the Cavalier Roundtable. I'm back. I'm Matt Rutherford, alongside Ryan Chybinski, Sam Taddei, and Jason Fridge. And guys, my favorite time of year is here. It's basketball season. The men's basketball team, they kicked off their season with a win over Rutgers Camden. How are we feeling about the win?
I'd say it was definitely a statement victory in the second half, and it was a tale of two halves. First half was definitely not the best for Cabrini. They only put up 20 points, and Ryan and I were on the game. We're kind of talking to each other about what's going on, like what's going wrong. Something's just not vibing right now. It's kind of a young squad, but then in the second half, they really lit it up, led by transfer Amadou Sarner, 23 points, a couple clutch three-point shots, and really just came out firing and got the rhythm that they need to take through the rest of the season.
It looked like the Cavaliers couldn't do anything right on the offensive end in the first half. They shot 25% in the first half. It was abysmal to watch up there. It hurt me, and I was worried about going into the second half if they were going to figure it out. But Coach McDonald got them fired up, and it seemed like there was nothing Sarner couldn't do in that second half. Stewart as well, with the flashy behind-the-back passes. You and I were up there freaking out about that one, Jason. That was a lot of fun to watch in the second half.
Yeah, it's the team definitely had a rough start to the first half in the game yesterday. I think they averaged 7 for 27 in the field, 1 for 15 in threes, 5 and 10 for free throws. So they definitely struggled, but it's no question that Amadou Sarner, who transferred from Division I Mississippi Valley State, was the star of the night. With 23 points in total, he had 4 threes back-to-back in the second half to get the team going. It was, honestly, you had to be there. It was quite a show.
And I think really the big thing that you mentioned there, 1 for 15 in the first half from 3. And that shot them in the foot. They were trying to find a rhythm. They kept hucking up threes, and none of them were falling. Finally, in the second half, they were taking higher percentage looks. And when they did settle for a 3, I'm pretty sure they only missed like 2 or 3 the entire second half.
Second half, they went for 6 out of 7 for threes.
So they were taking more efficient shots for sure. I think they shot around 50% in that second half, and you could absolutely tell. Came out, really got on top of Rutgers Camden, and didn't let the game go by.
They were taking the best shot, not the first shot. In the first half, they were just kind of trying to get anything going, just throwing everything in the backboard, hoping something sticks and they could get hot. I mean, Akil Stewart was doing it. We know he's a hot shooter. He started to heat up there in the second half, and then Amadou Sarner as well heated up in the second half. But they, again, started to make the one more pass. They took the better shot, took the open shot, got guys open, got guys moving in the lane, and really started to use the fact that they didn't have a big man to their advantage, because they didn't really have to worry about somebody slowing them down in the transition, and they could outrun that Rutgers-Camden squad.
Yeah, and I only take this one with a grain of salt. Like you guys said, bad first half. But at the same time, it's the very first game of the season. It's the first half that this team has played together, with the exception of their scrimmage. But they're really just getting used to each other, and it seems like all it might have taken was a little bit of a halftime speech, and that's what brought this team together, and the chemistry.
Yeah, and I'd also say a guy that Ryan and I were talking about a lot that was kind of going unnoticed the entire game, Pat Campbell.
Absolutely.
He was a sophomore, another transfer, played JUCO last year, and his stats didn't jump off the sheet. But if you're watching the game, he was kind of all over the place at the right time. On the big play from Akil Stewart, he was the one that tipped it to him before the behind-the-back pass. So when you see that on SportsCenter, it's Patty Campbell who really set that up. 5 points, he had 2 really big blocks that kind of came out of nowhere. And they brought a little bit of life into the Cavaliers, and a big 3 that kind of started their run in that second half. So he was a guy that really went unnoticed, and I think we got to bring him into the spotlight. He has a bright future here for the Cavaliers.
Absolutely. Campbell was definitely the unsung hero of that game. I mean, the 2 blocks blew me away. I had no idea that he was able to get up like that and was able to make those blocks. The big test for this Cavaliers team is going to be on the 15th against Eastern in the Crossroad rivalry. They got embarrassed last year at home. We got our own gym taken over here. We're across the street this year. They need to step it up, and they need to bring that Eagle Road sign back here to the Dixon Center.
Yeah, and another team that they just finished up their season, but they had a great season, is the field hockey team. They won another Atlantic East Conference championship. They got plenty of accolades to go along with it. And how do you guys feel their season went?
I mean, ending off in the same way that they did last year, traveling to St. Mary's, who was the top seed, bested them in the regular season. It was a 1-0 contest, back and forth, a great game to watch. And then they went onto their home turf, and instead of sneaking out an overtime victory, they really just won in an emphatic way, 3-1, and it was dominant. If you were watching the game, it was all Cabrini from the opening whistle. They came in with the right mindset. They were hungry for it, and they left with that trophy. Going down to CNU, that game was definitely big for the program's sake. Only a couple years ago, only able to get a few wins the entire year. Now they're in the NCAA tournament competing, and a tough loss in the first round, but just the fact that they're there with all the youth that they have on this team, it's really exciting to see.
Yeah.
I do have to admonish you there, Jason. It was a 3-0 victory in the Atlantic East Conference Championship. Their Marywood game was 3-1. But the team, they looked complete there against St. Mary's, and you could see that they were good matched up against St. Mary's when they played them here at Edith Robb Dixon Field. You could see that it was a good game. I mean, it was 0-0 until like 3 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and it was a heartbreaking goal that they gave up. And you could tell that really lit a fire under their butts, and they were really ready to go and to kick some butt for the rest of the season. And they played outstanding. They didn't lose after that. They won. They had won every time up until that Christopher Newport game the other day. That is an impressive streak from them.
100%. This team had an amazing run this year. They were once again the underdog team of the year, coming in, polled as second seed against St. Mary's once again, and went on early in the season losing to St. Mary's, a tight game too, 0-1, and just dominated the conference after that. Came back, dominated, and once again went into the championship. At St. Mary's again, other team had the home field advantage and came out on top once again. I don't know how next year this team should be polled as the 2 seed again. But how about Caroline Gallagher? Second in the year in a row getting Player of the Year.
I mean, she earned it. You saw her in the championship game. She had 2 goals in the entire season, besting her numbers from last year. 20-plus goals, a bunch of assists. And really, if you ever watch a Cabrini field hockey game, you would see number 18 going up and down the field. And usually, one of those runs would end up with the ball in the back of the net and a big celebration. She's a really enthusiastic player. So much fun to watch in the heart and soul of this Cabrini field hockey team. Going to be awesome to see what she does next year. I'm really excited to see how she takes her game to that next level and sets up with the squad that they have around her with this experience, going to the tournament, experiencing what it's like to have a 6-hour drive to CNU, go down and play in those big-time games. It's going to be interesting to see where she takes her game next year, and I'm really excited to watch it.
I mean, we saw Gallagher go through, 5, 6 Marywood defenders in
Basically
the
the entire
semifinal game? She ran from one end of the field to the other with the ball. Nobody touched her. Nobody could stop her. And I mean, that just shows you what she is to this program. She does the same thing for the women's lacrosse team here at Cabrini as well. As you said, Jason, she's the heart and soul of this team. She makes everybody else on the team better. She forces everybody else to step their game up in practice. In the game, she makes everybody better around her. And I think she's only going to carry this program even further, hopefully to their first NCAA tournament win come next year.
Yeah, I really think that field hockey, they can make a big impact, not only this year like they did, but in the following years, considering Caroline Gallagher. She's still young. Anyways, that is all the time we have this week on Cavalier Roundtable. From Jason Fritz, Samantha Taddei, Ryan Chybinski, I'm Matt Rutherford, and from all of us here at House 67 Productions, have a great week, Cabrini.